Hi, my name is Andreas Christiansen, or Harlequin on the NGC Discord. I'm gonna be playing Monarchy Control today, again, but this time playing a version that has a slight black splash. So this version splashes black for 2 cards. Shriekmaw in the main deck, and Plague Engineer in the sideboard. The reason you do this is, first of all, splashing black isn't that big of a cost, and Plague Engineer helps deal with things like elves, spirits, humans, mid-range Mardu decks where they have lots of tokens. Anything that goes wide, this helps deal with, and that's what it basically the step between us getting into a Khan. Like, we need to survive until we get to a Khan and get a Spirit into play, right? Or some other way of stabilizing, or Hornet Queen, right? This helps bridge that gap so that we can survive longer. That's what Plague Engineer does. You could play more, but I'm just gonna play one for now. Also, I chose to play this list because it's very close to what I play in paper. And we have Shriekmaw, which is an addition that that West on the Discord suggested to me. I'm playing this over Kogla because they have the same role of destroying a creature, but this one only costs 2 mana to evoke, and then you can still E with it to buy it back and do it again. So this one also acts as early interaction that can also be tutored up by Primal Command, and that can actually also provide a clock if you end up hardcasting it, because it has fear. It can't hit black creatures, but that shouldn't be that much of a problem. Like, it might not be able to hit a Death Shadow, but the Death Shadow deck that's popular right now is Jund, and they're playing stuff like Swiftbeer and Tarmogoyfs that we also want to kill. So it should still be able to be useful, and I'm not sure. I'm not even sure I'd side it out against those decks. The way we're splashing black is we're playing 4 Windswept Heaths and 1 Overgrown Tomb in order to have some fixing in the mana base. And then we're playing, of course, we have the 4 Utopia Sprawl that we can put on black, though if we can choose not to put it on black, we won't put it on black. Because we only have, both our cards only require 1 black mana. They don't require double black. So we don't want to have double black. And we usually actually want to have a lot of green because of things like Stirrings and Eternal Witness and Azimuth. Like, we want to have a lot of green pips. And then we replace the Elvish Mystic and Animal Elves with 3 Birds of Paradise, because just to guarantee that we have some extra fixing. Otherwise, the deck is pretty much the same. There's a few changes in the sideboard. Of course, the deck list is going to be in the description. So I've taken out 1 Obstinate Baloth to put in a Veil of Summer, because this helps deal with the creatures in the same way Baloth does. And then I'd like to have more options, because Shriekmaw and Plague Engineer are good against creature decks. I want to have another Veil against control. That's the idea behind it. And then I cut a Ornithopter, or like I cut the 10th Wishboard slot to put in the Plague Engineer. I think, yeah. The thing I personally want to add here is Hex Parasite, but I like having Darksteel Citadel because guaranteeing a land drop when you're in a tough spot sometimes is actually really nice. It's essentially, if you don't have a land drop, drawing a land is the same as ramping. So you really want to guarantee you can hit your lands. Otherwise, the list is pretty much the same. So I am going to play through a league and see how it goes. Yes, it's the correct deck. Hopefully we can do well, though that's never a guarantee, but the least we can hope for is to have some fun matches. That's what I hope for. Because winning doesn't matter as much if the matches are at least close and fun. You could the black splash in this deck is very light, and you could easily have a bigger black splash. I know there's another person in the Discord who plays more of a like It's a non-Khan version, and it plays a lot more black removal. So to actually play more like a control deck or a reactive deck. I don't like that personally. I don't like playing without Khan. I just prefer to play with Khan. Um, but there's a good argument for it. There's also arguments for playing other black things. There's a lot of good black cards. There's a lot of good cards in all the colors that you can put in the deck. But the advantage of having a mana base that's so solid is also nice. Like you're not actually weak to a lot of things with a mana base. Even though it's modern, you can still get hit by things like Blood Moon and Field of Ruin, like it screw over your mana base. And we dodge that when you're running a monocolor deck. And even with this deck, it's like pretty solid. Wow, not a lot of people playing this early. I think early European time is probably the time where least people are playing the game. So, oh, we got into a match here versus Vertix. We are on the play. Let's see. Okay, so we have a one lander here. If we had more one drops in this hand, like if we say this primal and this Acid Moss was another 2 dogs, I'd probably keep it because then it'd be guaranteed mana. But we only have one land, one elf, and some free drops. 2 lands, this is an easy keep, right? If this primal was a land, it'd be an easy keep because then we could just play Visionary or Eternal Witness turn 2. But as it is, we can't keep this. Yeah, this is looking a lot more like what we would want here. So, probably gonna bottom the Ancient Stirrings instead of the Primal. You could also just bottom the Primal. That's a good question. The thing is, we have both the Visionary and the Acid Moss to draw to gain lands, possibly. But the Stirrings can find us a Khan, but it also just find us nothing. I'd rather have some gas in my hand, guaranteed gas. The first Heath is gonna fetch a forest, no reason to shock yourself. An important thing to remember with this deck, very important actually, is that Acid Moss can search for any forest card, which means you can find an Overgrown Tomb with Acid Moss. And so, if you know that it's gonna resolve, just don't fetch the Overgrown Tomb before that, unless you of course need the mana, right? But otherwise, just don't. They shock the Breeding Pool, interesting. Well, that's not gonna change what we're gonna do anyway. I have no idea what shock Breeding Pool actually means. Opt. Oh god. Yes, it's this deck. Of course. Though, to be fair, we do have... Oh, that's actually a really nice draw. This is... Yeah. We both have Primal Command and Khan for Tormod's Crypt. Which is really nice. Because Primal Command can shuffle the graveyard and Khan can find a Tormod's Crypt. The thing is, I don't know if they're able to hold up counter magic. They need 3 mana to do the Cascade thing, right? So if we hit the Acid Moss on a Breeding Pool, they can't Cascade next turn. But if they have a counter, and we're in a really bad spot. But we're in a bad spot either way if they have a counter, right? So... But if they counter... Okay, here's another thing. If they counter, then they can't cycle twice, right? And then if they living in, it's just like they only get back a 4 for it. That's not that big a deal. I think I do want to try for Acid Moss on the Breeding Pool. It's a tough one, but I do think it's the good thing. I think it's good to do here. Attack with Street Wraith. Attack with Mid Curator. Yeah, so now we hit it, we guarantee that they won't, because Simian Spirit Guide is banned, we know they won't be able to have 3 mana this turn. There are no more fast mana in Modern. So, and now we can fetch the Tormod's Crypt. Or we could play Primal Command, either or actually. I like trying to get down the con. They didn't have a counterspell last turn, but of course they drew like 3 cards since then. They're just cycling, okay. I guess they're looking for an answer. They might have Force of Negation actually. And they might just be cycling for Force. Okay, they didn't. They didn't hit it. Really good for us. Just a quick, what's it called? Information. Graphics Cage does not work against Living End. People in Historic has proved that against other things, and it just doesn't work. It actually just doesn't work. So don't do it. And also learn from my last match, play against the deck. Don't crack the Tormod's Crypt until they attempt the Living End. And now we're gonna hitting for 3 since they shocked twice. They're actually pretty low on life, so we can just try to go for the kill. Next time we have a Ballista for 2 anyways. They're actually pretty close to being dead. I assume they're not a Shadow deck. That makes no sense. If they keep cycling things, then there's just more things they won't have for the thingy. Oh, they didn't hit a land. Oh, then conceded. Okay, cool. Let's just Sky Living End. Just writing down the matchups so I remember. So against this deck, I think Skews could be good. Veils could be good, but it's not a guarantee. Keeping them off mana seems good. Trinisphere is actually pretty good because then they can't, if they play it, then when they cascade into the live again, they still have to pay 3 mana, so they need 6 mana to actually cast it. So that's really good. Shriekmaw is okay, but they won't really be playing anything until they played the big one, and in that case, it might actually doesn't really do that much. Mono Queen could stabilize. Ballista is like dark, and I presume it could kill some of that Planeswalker if they have them. I feel like we won't. I feel like we will be fighting for just keeping him off actually casting the cards to begin with. Okay, so we definitely want the Scoos. So I feel like I might even cut something like Nissa because we don't need it. And Scoos is a turn 2 play anyway. And I actually do kind of want most Acid Moss. And they didn't actually show the counters, right? They didn't show the counter spell. I think I'll do something to... I'm just gonna... I don't know how much counter magic they actually have. I think I'm just gonna try to see what happens. And then on the... might cut some more land structure, but... we'll see. Might just be too fast for us here, of course. Okay, this is a pretty damn good hand. Has everything we could ask for. He's gonna play the Scoops on turn 2. With mana up. Because we'll play a land, tap the land to play Scoops, and then we'll have a mana up with the bird. So sorry if there's something lags. My internet has been weird the last couple of days. Okay, so that's definitely something we need to eat. Also, why did I say Jeskai? Of course, the fuck. Stupid. I don't know why I said Jeskai. That's because they only had Jeskai mana when I was thinking it. Of course, they have green, right? I also have Bale or something, I don't know. I'm actually not sure why they run green. Oh, they conceded. I guess they cannot be a Scavenging Ooze. Interesting. Well, at least I didn't 0-2 versus them this time. Interesting. It's not just living in, it's 4-color living in. It's actually, I'm gonna write Sans Black because that actually not guaranteed. It's not intuitive what color living in doesn't have, because living in used to play Jund actually. So yeah. Oh, only Sans Black in the mana base. Of course, it has living in, right? But lots of mana. Ewit, Birds, Khan seems like a fine keep this hand. Of course, usually start with Birds, depending on if they show some to be like. That might be Elves or Inquisition. Okay. Against this deck, I'll probably. It depends on what they take, I guess. I'll still probably lead with Birds, just to force the hand on removal. But also, if they yeah, I will, because return 2 play is gonna be mana anyway. I wanna force them to deal with this. But if they play Ren and 6, then we're just screwed. Oh, it's Lurrus Rock. I played it against this deck at FNM and I 2-0'd it, so that's nice. You're just gonna play out all the mana here. It's lots of mana. They do have pushes, I think, but they have Field of Ruin, but this isn't basic, so we might just we're gonna put it on the same one, and we're not gonna. Should we put it on black? We have double birds and an overgrown tomb. No, I'm gonna put it at green. No reason to show black yet. If they have a Thoughtseize for the Khan, that's pretty annoying, but how it is. The Blooming Marsh, they're probably gonna play the Blooming Marsh. They played Inquisition again. Why would they do that? They know we have a Khan and one unknown, right? They know we have Khan, unknown. Why would they play Inquisition again? So we can actually play Khan Bridge, and then they might have Maelstrom Pulse, right? But if they have Maelstrom Pulse, you still need to deal with either the bridge or the Khan. So I like playing Khan Bridge here, because we can follow that with a Primal, right? I don't. They're putting on pressure, right? I could get a Ballista, but I want to get that when I have the mana to actually pump it up a lot. Don't have Delirium. They're not even close to have Delirium, so. And we have one card in hand, so they can't actually attack with any of their 2-drops. They drew a push, that's good against us. They might put lures into hand. Oh, they have their Abrupt Decay. Oh, that's right. Forgot about Abrupt Decay. But now they're still probably gonna kill Khan, and Grim Flare won't trigger then. Draw a Crawling Barrens, it's a fine draw. Putting a land on top isn't very good against the Dark Confidant. You could just gain 7. Find Ewid. I feel like that buys us the most time. Putting a land, I don't feel like putting a land on top does much. Blank's one of their draws, right? But then we know that they won't take any damage off Dark Confidant, and they still get to draw a card. It does limit their mana, I guess, so they can't play the. The next turn they swing, we take 4, chump the Goyf, go down to 12. Yeah, I'm gonna gain life. And here we have the mana to play Ewid, so I'll probably get Ewid. Ewid for Bridge or Ewid for Khan. We could also get Hornet Queen, but then both our birds need to survive. Could get Shriekmaw, but then we're just stuck after that, right? So I'll get Eternal Witness. Question is, do we get back the Primal? Do we get the Khan? Do we get back the Bridge? That's a really good question, actually. Primal doesn't actually do that much. Khan can fetch. They Khan. Possibly 4 mana. That's not enough to be a Wormcoil. Bridge, they might just have another removal spell for it, but that's the thing that buys us the most time, right? Actually, I might just get a Primal, because then I can find something like Hornet Queen. That's pretty good against them, though it's not very good against what's it called? Maelstrom Pulse, if they have that. So they could have taken us off 2 mana with both this and this with Maelstrom Pulse, so both Bridge and Hornet Queen are just like buying us time. So, but I think, but if I get Primal for Hornet Queen, right, I won't even be able to play it immediately. So I'll just get the Bridge. Actually, will I? Because they need to have another removal spell for it. So they might have both Abrupt Decay, Assassin's Trophy, and Maelstrom Pulse. Fuck. This is a really hard choice. Sorry, I'm tanking in this. Also, argument was just taking Ewid, right? Because then you can Ewid back something next turn. I have another blocker. What do we have in our sideboard? We do have Wormcoil and Closet. So getting Khan for Wormcoil is basically the same Us getting Primal for Hornet Queen. At 8 mana guaranteed next turn. 8 mana. We can just do the same thing again with Primal. Primal dodges Inquisition, so Bridge doesn't. Get a Primal. I think that gives us the most flexibility. And they have the Dark Confidant. That means that they have a lot more draws to get like a good removal spell for a bridge. Oh, that's the worst thing they could have gotten. But I mean, none of what we did didn't matter if they're just gonna top deck the Thoughtseize. That's just how it is. I think I actually might block the Confidant here. Even though I'm gonna take more damage, this way we kill the Confidant. And I might trigger Delirium on the Grimflayer. Put Dark Confidant and Tarmogoyf into the graveyard. Right? No, they put Tarmogoyf into the graveyard. That's a bad draw. We also have the Fatal Push. Gonna jump the Goyf here. Gonna activate Calling Bears instead, but they have a push anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I also have to feel the Ruin. Probably gonna put Lurrus into hand. Oh, they did put Lurrus, but now they cast Lurrus. That means you're probably dead. You don't draw anything here? Yeah, we're just dead. Oh! That Thoughtseize just kind of ruined us. What do we want here? Probably just want 3 Veils to blank removal. Might fund the things to buy time. Land destruction. They're a mid-range deck, right? So we want to cut at least 1 Trinisphere and 2 Azimuths, because they're gonna have so many things, right? Freakmaw is good against Goyf, but not good against the other things. Plague Engineer can kill. Plague Engineer can kill Dark Confidence. That's pretty good. And Hex Drinkers as well. So Kitchen Finks buys a lot of time. Probably gonna cut a Birds. Blank more Fatal Pushes. The reason why Trinisphere isn't that great is because they're not gonna, like, a lot of things are 2 and 3 mana, so they're not gonna be that effective right anyway. And the reason I want to keep some amount of Azimuths because they have man lands, so we kind of want to hit those. Trinisphere is still good on the play, right? That's the reason for keeping is Trinisphere is still really good on the play. Just play it on turn 2 and then Azimuth on turn 3. That's still great line, but I might cut the streak more just because it doesn't have enough targets. And like, yeah, it's good against Amogorth, but it doesn't kill all the other things. So this would be good, but we don't have a turn 1 play. We do have a Veil, so actually this is not a instant mulligan because we have a Veil to blank a Thoughtseize. And we have a Stirring, so we do have some early plays, right? I actually think I might keep this. Because if we can blank a Thoughtseize, that's really good. So I'm gonna try this hand. This might not be the best keep, but we have 3 lands, we have cards to play early. Like, we can mulligan into a like trash hand and then mulligan to 5, and then we're already and then we Thoughtseized ourselves anyway. And let's say we've mulliganed to an Arborhill Visionary hand, right? We play the Arborhill, they push it, and then we're in the exact same spot as with this hand. So that's the reasoning why this keeping a thing with just a Veil on 1 is good. Because we're gonna end up in this position anyway against Rock and Jund and those type of decks. They're mulligan to 5, so that's good for us. I assume they think the turn 1 Thoughtseize and such is really important. Like, Thoughtseize are pushing 1. That's the bubble. Starting themselves. And then they can play fetch or non-fetch accordingly. Which is a very neat interaction, I do think that. He didn't shock, okay, cool. We get a Khan, that's nice. Play Windstep Thief, fast turn. Play a Goyf. So we could play Trinisphere here. Okay, the problem is that it doesn't technically do anything. If they play a land, they play a card, hit with Goyf. We play Asimos, kill a land. They play a land, play a guard, hit with Goyf. And we've done nothing. So I think I'm gonna play Bird. Play this tapped pass. Because I think Trinisphere, the upside is really good, the downside is really bad. Because Trinisphere also makes Veil so much worse. Blocking. They don't have a land, however. Then we're in a good spot. They have another Goyf. They just have Goyfs everywhere. Wow. So we might play a Khan, fetch the bridge here, and then have bridge with Veil up. So we don't actually have few enough cards in hand to do anything with bridge, I think. Get Primal, search for something. I think also Acid Moss is quite tempting because we can destroy the treetop village, have Veil up, and find something that will it can really help us. Find a Shriekmaw. That's a good proposition. But also like Acid Moss this set up for next turn. Next turn, okay, we Acid Moss this. We gain a land, and we're up to 6 mana. If we draw a land, we're up to 7 mana. Then we can primal first Shriekmaw. Or we can con into bridge. If we just play primal, we do the same thing. We really have. Yeah, I'm gonna Acid Moss here. This matchup is a weird one. But again, this is the case where they just play Goyfs. But if they just started doing a bunch of hand disruption, of course the Veil is push, draw a card, and blank the removal. But if they did have the like other start, then we're also just dead, right? So kind of a lose-lose. But Goyf is also a very good card against us, so through the Blast Zone, that's big, because that we can put it on 2. How much mana does that? So that's 3 mana, right? To put it on 2. That means we can just do something like play Visionary, draw a card. Then we have 2 blockers. Otherwise, we do something like Primal, gain life, find a Shriekmaw, kill one of them. They have 2 Goyfs as a creature in the graveyard, right? There is not. Okay, if we put a creature in the graveyard, then they're 5s, so that's also bad. I think putting Blast Zone on 2 is the thing that's gonna win us the game. So I want to pursue that line. I do. Because, you know, 3 Tarmogoyfs. I think that's the line that's gonna win us the game. The other line is just gonna try to delay it. So I think we do this. And we pass the turn. You can chum with both these creatures. Just want to dodge removal. Yeah, Feel the Ruin, of course, then we're screwed, but we can't play around Feel the Ruin. I honestly do not think we can play around Feel the Ruin, so. How much mana are we on? 6. If we draw land, we can count bridge. Don't. See, I don't think we can play around that. I don't think we can. Do we get anything here? Anything we can do? It's 5 power, so we die to 1 hit. Primal gain 7. We go to 11. Get something that will help us. Play a Arbor Elf. And jump 1, take 10. I guess that's a line that keeps us alive, so we should pursue it. What can we get? We can get a Hornet Queen. I mean, keeps us alive, so we have to try it. Can't not try it. And if we draw a land, then only queen can come down. I think this is the only way that has any chance of keeping us in the game. But yeah, with that, they have all the answers. When they have all the answers every time they need them, they had the removal in this spot. They had they feel the ruin just when they needed it. They had the Thoughtseize last game that they drew when they needed it. That makes it really difficult to fight them. But I also know from a fact that playing against them at FNM, they can also really easily stumble. So I think we got a bit unlucky. On the draw against Celico. We have the good old turn 2 Khan. If we get to keep our things, this is a great hand. They're mulliganing to 6. As a deck that doesn't have a lot of raw card advantage, people mulliganing is always a nice thing. Control? Oh boy. If it's control, they won't have a good answer to Arbor Elf except Path. And Path isn't a good answer to Arbor Elf, it's a answer to Arbor Elf. That's a really important thing to think. Because when people path Arbor Elves, that's because they're scared of the Utopia Sprawl. Because pathing Arbor Elf doesn't actually do anything, so. Oh, it's Stoneblade. Interesting. There is a Battleskull here. That's usually the first thing. They get a Feast of Famine. That means either they're greedy and think pro green is good, or they have a Battleskull in hand. Don't want to shock against this deck. So we can play Khan. That's a good line here. It's good against swords. Or we could play a Visionary and an Arbor Elf. That will give us a lot of mana. I think we will draw with Khan immediately. That's good. Not immediately, right? So I'm actually tempted to go Arbor Elf and Visionary, because that will grant us next turn. That means we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry, don't point on my screen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mana plus a potential land. It's 9 mana, and that's pretty damn good. But playing Khan now stops the. It won't get hit by a creature next turn anyway, because they won't attack with a Stoneforge. They'll activate it. Most likely, attacking with the Stoneforge is still a good thing for us, so we don't care if they do it. And if they just do the sword, I don't know, the sword, then they can't activate it anyway if we have the Khan out. So that's like a win-win. And I kind of want to try to deploy the Khan while they're tapped out. So they'll have, if they have force negation, and they'll have to pitch something to force negation. But there's definitely also a good argument for going for the just absurd amount of mana line. So we have some options here. We could get something like a Pithing Needle or a Coating, right? Or we could get a Darksteel Citadel to have a land drop next turn. Or we could get a Wurmcoil, because we could play the Wurmcoil next turn. Closet, we're not even remotely close to being good, to Closet being good. Bridge is probably something that we would want to do a bit later. Actually, I might get Wormcall because just slamming a Wormcall next turn is really good, right? And if they have to path an Arbor Elf, that's still fine. The next turn, even if they put Batterskull into play, then we can just chomp it for one turn and then have a Wormcall in place. They might have Maul of the Skyclaves, but I'm not sure if the non-mono white decks play Maul of the Skyclaves. But I do actually really like getting Wormcall, just to have a threat that is really good. Just gonna try that because that one's bigger than Batterskull. Also, sorry for being so goddamn slow. I just like talking about the decisions that are actually interesting. Because fetching with Khan, fetching with Primal, returning with Ewood, those are the kind of things where you, like, those are the decision trees that split your games up into multiple different games. You're gonna attack with the Khan, so that means that they don't have Batterskull because they would have just put Batterskull into play. That's better. They just have the sword. And this is still fine. They only hit for one. That means we can't wish and keep it alive, we'll just uptake them. Because if we can play a Wormcall next turn. They don't have a land. Oof. I mean, we can't either. We can't play the Worm. I mean, we could use Khan to wish for a land, then play the Wormcall, but I don't want to do that. Play the Stirrings. Actually, Trinisphere is very tempting against the deck that's mana screwed. We'll just play another Stirrings. Right? Or do we play an Arbor Elf into Trinisphere? Play Stirrings, get a land, play a land. Oh, that's right. That's still the play. First we'll uptake this, no target. I feel like they missed a land, so they might have a mana leak or something up, but when we reveal the Trinisphere, they can't counter the Arbor Elf. They have to counter the Trinisphere. If they have a counter, that is. They don't, we're in a really good spot. But now that's one less counter to worry about for something like Wormcall. And they're still in a bad spot because they didn't miss the land. They miss a land this turn, then okay, they do have wait, what? They're playing that one? Untapped target legendary permanent, what? Do they have like Geist of Saintraft or something weird? I don't know. Wait, why would you want to untap? Do you have some other legendary land? Do you have some doesn't do anything with Planeswalker? I mean, sure, it's most of the time it's a free land to have in your deck because it's not that much removal. They attack with the Stoneforge again. Interesting. We won't block, of course. We have a 2-mana mana dork is pretty good. And they don't have what's that card called? Archmage's Charm available because they don't have 3 blue. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we can't pay. We cannot pay for mana leak on Wormcall. If actually we fetch with Khan, we can actually pay for mana leak on Wormcall. But then we kill our Khan, and we also just bottom 2 Khans, so I kind of don't want to kill my Khan. I want to try to. I feel like I want to start with Stirrings. Trinisphere, pretty good. I know I should be playing the birds before this, but I want to know if they counter it. They path to exile their own creature. Now that is a desperation play. And even get a planes, that means they don't have Archmage's Charm. I mean, I didn't assume they had, but it's still like something to know if they have it. Hit the land here. I'm just gonna fetch now before they have anything. Actually, they have a Field of Ruin, so. But actually, if they let's say they play a land, activate Field of Ruin. I can. Okay. Don't fetch here, kids. I'm just being super lazy, which is it's like it's on board punished, right? But oh, whatever. I'm gonna get an Overgrown too. That might make him pop their Field of Ruin, and if they pop their Field of Ruin, sure they can still cast a spell, but they won't be casting a 5-mana spell. And I feel like they didn't have a Batterskull to start with, because then they just put a Batterskull into play. That's much better than attacking with the Stoneforge. Now the Stoneforge, which is the 2-mana 1/2 draw a card, which is a really bad card in this deck, in this matchup. At least against Khan. Skyclave. Like Khan. Play the Wurmcoil. Now we can play another Arbor Elf. Now we can start hitting them with Wurmcoil, which, sure, they have a Sword of Feast Effect, right? But we have a Wurmcoil, and they cannot cast 2 spells in 1 turn. If they have a land, they cannot do a play Sword Equip, but then we can actually still block with the Wurmcoil, because that's not green. So the Sword is looking really bad here. I feel like they're in the tank because they probably have some options, but I assume none of them are good. The Fairy Bounce Wurmcoil is a pretty good one, but it's very temporary. Like Colonnade. Just gonna play the Wurmcoil first here. Lady Visionary. I might actually wanna hit at the Teferi. I actually think I wanna do that. Just to guarantee they don't have any shenanigans. And I don't think putting a Burn Spirit. We have enough mana, right? At this point, I don't mind sacrificing some mana to guarantee killing the Teferi. And if they trade the Arbor Elf, then we kill the Teferi. If they trading the Visionary is just weird. But now we kill the Teferi so they don't have like Planeswalker just sitting and ticking up. Well, Teferi doesn't actually do anything, right? It's still annoying. And if it survives long enough, they can get a bit more value. So now they can double spell if they have some cheap things, but it's still very inefficient. And we still have the Wurmcoil they need to deal with. If they have a path, of course, that's good. They'll already spend their path. A path. But buying a turn with the Teferi is also pretty big for them. They have an oust. Pretty good. Oh, I see. Oust into shuffle with Field of Ruin. That's interesting. That's actually really cool if they do that. I think they might do that. Again, that's another punish for giving them the Field of Ruin target. What is this plane sword? Oh, I really like this plane. Nice. They didn't actually shuffle it away. Might do that next turn, of course. But we already play 2 Visionaries, so we're probably not going to draw the last one. Now they get the Batterskull. But we could use something, a good card here. That's not a good card. That's a really bad card. Don't think I want to attack here. Now they can shuffle it away, and this is now we're in another great spot. Play another Colonnade. Yeah. Now we got something like Primal Command, Khan. Oh my god, this is awkward. Okay, I'm just gonna like this is so awkward. What are the odds? It's like 1 in 39 odds. That's a Motobog if I've ever seen a Motobog. Holy shit. This is kind of funny. And it resolves. Wow. I mean, they can do Batterskull, put the sword on the Batterskull, but then our Wurmcoil just trades with the Batterskull. It doesn't, because it doesn't get protection from the Wurmcoil. So they still need another answer for Wurmcoil. They might have another answer for Wurmcoil, granted, but they need it. Another Field of Ruin. That was still kind of funny. I don't want to be like rude, but that is funny and really good for us. So we just have to wait and see what they got. Plating the sword isn't like sure it's good, but it's not amazing. It's the untap. The untap thing is pretty decent, right? I guess they could, if they get enough mana, they could activate Colonnade, equip the Colonnade with the sword. Yeah, they just realized we can just block with the Wurmcoil. I mean, if they trade, I guess the reason for attacking here is, of course, we're gonna block, right? We cannot block. But it does trade, and now they can return the Batterskull to their hand. So they can get another germ out of it. Or they can just re-equip it next turn, I guess. They have enough mana to where it's not a problem. That's gas. This is the reason you run Turn Timber Symbiosis, because it's like when you need a land, that's when it's a land. And when you need a big spell, that's when it's a big spell. It might have like last thing might be a counter, but I doubt it. Okay, Birds of Paradise, we're not taking that. Shriekmaw, killing the Stoneforge or the Skyclave. And we also have Ballista. The Shriekmaw becomes... Wait, is it CMC or power? CMC, okay, so Shriekmaw still is just a 3-2, but the Ballista comes in as a 3-3. We could kill the Stoneforge. And we could put a counter on it to kill both their creatures, actually. That seems pretty goddamn good. So I want to kill this Stoneforge so they don't get a discount on the Batterskull and putting it into play. And now we can also kill the Skyclave if they try to do something like a Quiver on it. Or we could just actually, I think it might be a good reason for just killing it now. However, that also just kills our Ballista. So I think I want to attack and then see what happens. Next turn, if they try to equip decent Famine to the Skyclave, then I'll kill it. Yes, Spellcaller. Interesting. Interesting. That means they're not returning the Batterskull that turn. But actually playing out the Spellcaller is huge, because that means they can't actually grab, you know, Karn and Ewid and stuff. They can equip the Feast and Famine though, that's true. But that doesn't actually do that much, does it? I guess they can activate a Colonnade, hit the Colonnade, and then untap other things, and then still bounce play Batterskull. But we can, oh, we can't jump with a bird, that's right. They're equipping the Batterskull. That's nice. Cool. This is where we'd like to have the Shriekmaw. Oh, we can't even kill it with Shriekmaw, that's a problem. Now we'd like to have a Karn. Blast Zone. That's probably a pretty good draw. On 3, it will kill these two things and the Trinisphere, but that's still pretty good. We will be forced to take another hit from the thingy, but also here I think I'm still attacking with the Death Touch Worm, because we just want to apply the much pressure as we can. And they're attacking in the air with the Queller anyway. Alright, the Field of Ruin. I forgot about that one. Yeah. I'm dumb. But that's one Field of Ruin. Now we just need an Ewid. The Spellcaller is kind of a problem. That's Unreal, that's gonna produce some tokens. Yeah, this is a problem. Okay, 1, 2. I think in this case we can just kill the Colonnade actually. We are gonna attempt to kill the Colonnade. It isn't anything weird here, is it? Can bounce it, but they can't equip at instant speed, so. We do have this going for us, that's something. But we still take 8 and they gain 8. So we really do need to get a something good off this draw. That is something good off this draw. What can we get? You get Wormcoil. You get Turn Timber. You get Blast Zone. I think Blast Zone might actually be the pick here. Because we play the Blast Zone, we take another hit. But we can jump the Colonnade. Then we put 2 counters on it. We kill this Queller, this Feast and Famine, and the Skyclave. Also a Visionary to Ewood, but whatever. And the Eternity, but we kill that, and the Battle Skull still in play, of course. Can we play a con this game? Where did our con go? Oh, it's under here. Right. I'm stupid. It's under the Skyclave. What do you want? Wormcoil is a guaranteed thing that does something right now. The Blast Zone, though, is probably the choice. I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 12. So we can both play the Blast Zone, put counters on it, and kill the Skyclave. If we want to. And they don't have a filler rune? No. I'm gonna get the Blast Zone. Hit in with the Death Touch token. Why not? Time to recoup some life. Make a token, it does not matter. We can just kill it if it is. With the Ballista, the tokens don't matter at all. Take another hit from the Queller, but that's gonna be the last hit, right? Still can't block it, because we don't have a flying, colorless creature. I honestly might start playing more Turn Timber. When they're good, they're amazing. And it rarely comes up that it's 3 life. But going down to 15 forests, it's sketchy. 8, they created 1/1, it does not matter. Don't know why they're not attacking with the Colonnade. Oh, they're on. Wait, Into the battlefield, return another target creature controls its own, and if you do gain life equal to that creature's converted mana cost. So what are they gonna bounce here? Well, we'll just kill it, right? no way in hell we're letting them bounce that. And we get a 4/4. Yeah. Of course, they're just using all their mana while they can, so that's fair enough. Got a legendary card, draw 2 cards. You also would like to have a good draw here, but that's a good draw. So we tap the Visionary, and the land in order to blow the Blast Zone up. I think we want to do that immediately, because if we go to that turn anyway, they're just gonna attack. And then we want to primal for something. Oh wow, that zoomed in a lot. I think we want to gain life because we're so low on life, but I'm not sure because we have a life linking worm. We can put the Colonnade on top. It says non-creature permanent. Okay, we cannot put the Colonnade on top because if we do that, they turn it into a creature and not spell fizzles. Don't do that, kids. We could feel like we just use this to find an use this, find Ewit, play Ewit, then we have 4 mana left. I think we want to gain life just to be out of like lethal range. Honestly. But the blanking a draw is actually a pretty big deal though, so I actually think we should do that. Just gonna bounce an island. Untap first is we cannot untap while paying for a cost. We can still play the Ewit here, so we just get the Ewit, I think. Or we get a creature and then put a counter on Ballista and hit the Nambi. I actually think that's better. I think we just get the Horny Queen, right? We just get a Horny Queen. Actually, because you can't have you don't have any counter return. This is just untap target legendary permanent. Doesn't do anything. This is game 1, isn't it? They can activate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They can activate Colonnade, but I still think we swing with the Illusion and the Death Touch. We want to try to kill them as fast as possible. Sorry, we don't want to try to kill them as fast as possible. We want to try and kill them, which is hard enough already. 6 fights with Crit White. Yeah, so it's like you can't activate and equip. I guess we should attack with Lifelink, but then again, no. You have one turn here, do something, but gonna bounce the Battle Skull. They're gonna play the Battle Skull, but they can play the Battle Skull. They can't play the Colonnade. Activate the Colonnade. They're drawing a. We know they're drawing an island. We don't have a lot of clock here, so I think we want to try to play as fast as possible from here. Because now they're in the tank now, but it's still it's interesting game. This is. They up for not playing the Battle Skull and instead trying to go for the kill with the Colonnade. That's fine. They don't have 2 damage here. We know that. And we still have 2 Birds of Paradise that we can start jumping with the next turn on. So it's fine. Don't concede. I think we wanna hit here. And we played in this get a land. Played a land. Flipped in this untap this. Played a Hornet Queen. Made 2/2. 4/4. Pass the turn. Now we have the Death Touch flyers, and we have a lot of power on board. So I think we should be good. Play the E word. Head back to Primal Command, I think. Just put something on top, gain 7 life, I think. Should have played Decom pre-combat so they couldn't bounce. So that would have to bounce first. That's a mistake. Sorry if I'm not saying a lot right now. I need to focus a lot when I'm so low on clock. I'm just gonna yield until next step. There's no reason to do anything here. The problem is we only have like 2 minutes on the clock now, so we can't probably can't win the next game. Though we do have a good chance of doing so, I think. Probably thanks to got the Trinisphere and the SMOs on the draw. Think seeing some Plague Engineer to try buy time, maybe a Veil. I don't know. This is a cool game. This is gonna be a very long video, but that's what happens when you get grindy matchups. That was a cool game. I think that demonstrates that you should never just like you always have a chance of an out. In paper, this works better because you're on like you have in this case you would have 10 minutes left in total, which would set you up a lot better. We now have to do like some serious F6ing. So on paper, this works better. Because I played slow here, I know I played slow. I spent like 3 minutes on one decision sometimes, like what happens when I'm trying to explain my thoughts. And I shouldn't have, in hindsight. But it's also hard to know that your game will go to like so long. So just hope we can clutch for this one out. Otherwise, still a fun game. Right, matchup, sorry, Stoneblade. Very interesting match though. So the put Wormcoil in the deck, shuffle the Wormcoil away, top deck the Wormcoil. That was kind of disgusting to do. But yeah, F6 time. Not thinking too much. not a great hand, but I think we're keeping it anyway. They kept a bad land hand on the back of the Stoneforge. Get the better skull this time. You have the Khan to find something like bridge. If you want to Acid Moss this turn. Either fade out of counter or make them activate the Stoneforge. So we have more mana to do something like a Khan. Khan with Veil back up is really good. I think that's an Archmage Charm they're trying to cast. Or it's just something else that's double blue. That's bad. We can't spell color that, or we can't veil that. Break off the stirrings. It's really bad. I think we're in a bad position. Though we might be able to run him out of time, but I'm probably don't think we can. This is an unfortunate series of events. I think if we go to game 3, we're gonna have to go full Luxac mode. I'm just gonna concede here because we have a game 3. And in this case, I'm gonna take out this, put in this, put in this, take out this, put in this, whatever. I don't think the veil is gonna do anything. We need to I think in order to win this game in 2 minutes, we need to go full Trinisphere Acid Moss like clock. I think we need to do that if we want to win this game. So I'm just gonna do that. I don't think we can win this, but it's been a fun one, right? We had a very interesting first game, so I think it's completely worth it. Of course, I'm not gonna talk as much when I have to play really, really fast. Hopefully they don't have a Stoneforge again. Tower Stirrings. No, I think land is better. Probably have a mana leak. Don't. That's good for us. I don't know what can they kept that didn't have a turn 2 play. Because we already have a unit in hand, we don't need to fetch it with. Very bad. This might be enough. If we had a minute more here, it'd be an easy win. Okay, GG. That's unfortunate. We could have won that. Fuck. We could have easily won that if we had more time. Lost to time. That's unfortunate. That's quite unfortunate. That's how it goes sometimes. Like, we could have easily won that game 3 if we had, like, 3 more minutes. So that's... Ah, that sucks. I hate when that happens. If I hadn't been recording, I probably could have pulled it off since I wouldn't have been talking so much. But that game 1 was also super intense, so... we had such a good start, wow. Man, I should have just... if they didn't have the sweeper there, we think we could have pulled it off. Damn. Against Munich casual. I'm gonna have to calm down a bit after that last game. Wow. Oof. I guess this is a keep. We have 2 dogs, Trinisphere. Sunken Hollow. What's that, inverter? Mill wouldn't play a tap land. It's some kind of blue-black control deck or something else, but or something that's budget-wise. Wait, they have a companion. Does it have Loris? Maybe it is Mill? Or it is just Inverter? No, it's not Inverter, then it wouldn't have Loris, so it's something weird. Oh, take that too far. Okay, some kind of Sultai control, maybe with Ice Fangs, I guess. I don't know. Guess I'm just gonna add some. Sorry, I need to stop playing this fast. Yeah, I'm just gonna add some here, see if it happens. Assume they have Mana League up, but I can't play around it, so I have to play into it. Or Logic Knot, I guess. Logic Knot means that it's hard control. Maybe it's like a wilderness control. You shouldn't play Windswept Heath before you cast the Stirrings, it's just stupid. Obviously we take Khan here. You have Shadow of Doubt? That's a Shadow of Doubt is a very appropriately named card, because as soon as you have a Shadow of Doubt, that's when you get hit by it. You don't cast a Khan here. I assume they have a Cryptic Command up, but we can't play around it, so. Again, we can't, that's the problem as a mid-range deck against a control deck. You can't play around the counters, you have to play each threat into a counter, and they just need to have one counter, and then they're good. Yeah, they did have Ice Fangs. That's kind of what's annoying sometimes. Have Tarmogoyf? Interesting. This is not looking good. One, two, three, four, five, six. Yeah, I'm sure. Playing Ballista, we can push the fast. Actually, fuck, fuck! I shouldn't have done that. I'm stupid. I should just have pushed the blast zone up to 2. There's no reason to do this. This is dumb. Don't listen to me, kids. I'm being very. That last game threw me off so hard. I need to just slow down, think about my decisions, because that's kind of decision is the kind of decision that maybe loses you the game. They're casting a spell, so I guess they're forcing our hand with the Ballista. Which does grant them another type in the graveyard, so it's a big problem. Draw land here. That's equivalent. Try to cast it. They might have another counter spell, but we cannot play around another counter spell. If they counter this, of course, then we have to use the blast zone, but also might just. I really want to get down the Pony Queen, 1, 2, 3. But we cannot play around anything, and it's just if we don't take, then if that gets countered, they hit us with the Goyf, then the blast zone is too slow. So we're in a bad position. I think I want to take up the blast zone. In which case we might as well play the Trinisphere. which might beta counter, but there's like no reason to counter it. I need to calm down. Don't rush anything. I'm not gonna block here because then I can't cast the queen next turn. They're not even putting lures into hand, right? So I have to assume they have something. They have disallow? They have Assassin's Trophy. I guess that is something. Hopefully that means they don't have a counterspell. If they do have a mana leak, then it's just like, okay, sure, I lose. Okay, I can cast a Primal Command in the most, like, gain life, draw a card. And if they counter it, then I still have the Arbor of to chump with, and then drawing a land would allow me to cast a queen. Whereas if I cast a queen, I just straight up lose, right? So I feel like I have to play around. They had Force of Negation. Oh, damn it. That's the one counter that the queen doesn't get countered by. Damn. Now they have Lurrus. In that case, this play was super bad. Oh, now I'm just dead. And then they draw the Cryptic. I hate this. This is annoying. This is really frustrating type of deck to play against with this deck. And we should have won the Stoneblade matchup, right? So we should have been 2-1 by now. Drigmaws are fine, I think. Trinity is not good. Asimos, no. Ugh. Fake Engineer kills the snake, sure. But that's it. They buff Scoots, things, and Fake Engineer has a reason. As like, I includes. I think I want to cut Asimos. So I think I want to put something in. Maybe something like a Scoots. Just need to not get too tilted about that last game. But kind of hard not to. I don't think we can mulligan this, but it's weak to counter magic. So. Everything is weak to counter magic. Push it. Hopefully find a con here. We brick. That's bad. You have 2 primals though, so that's something. We can't even cast one next time. Big blast on. This kind of matchup is really hard. And I don't have any. I don't think we can win it. Especially not if they're on the play. Just all kind of magic up for every single thing we play. Can't win against that. Don't want to play primal into counter magic here. Draw 2. They don't take our birds. That's nice. Veiled Summer would be the thing we really want right now. I said Moss is probably fine card to draw as well. We'll cast it, try to take a counter with this. Just remember we can do in this matchup. Mid range against control with tons of counter magic is like worst thing ever. Just have to hope to draw a veil. This is the reason you want 3 veils against these matchups, because otherwise you don't stand a chance. Get Archmage's Charm here. They get Mana Leak. Oh, it costs 1 more. Right, sure. Again, well, I don't think we can win this. We don't, especially if we don't draw a veil, there's just no chance. I'm just gonna concede and go to the next one. This is gonna take so long. Again, this kind of annoys me because we go 1-4, we don't get anything back, and we should have won. We should have won against the Stoneblade deck. So it's gonna be lost points. Because it kind of sucks when you get unlucky, and that's like the entirety of the reason that you lose. If we draw a Veil against a control player, we at least have a chance of doing something. But they even have the critters to pressure a Khan if we play a Khan, so just gonna be very tough. At least we're on the play now. They have a companion. The Yorion deck. This is a fine hand. Yorion can mean a lot of things. It can also mean a lot of bad things. It can mean both the Death and Taxes deck, it can mean the Nif deck. Taxes is like an okay matchup. The Nif deck is a bad matchup, I think. The Nif deck. However, Acid Moss is great against the land with a Sprawl on it, so there's that at least. Gonna play Visionary out here. Crib out. We want to crib out when possible. Don't want to have to play Stirrings if it throws us off crib. We're not weak to Renin 6, that's something right now. And Acid Moss is gonna set them back a lot. So, and we do have the Visionary to actually pressure the Acid Moss. What other things they could play? It's a fairy. Get a tap land, okay. Okay, they don't have blue up, so they don't have counter magic. Maybe they have lightning helix. Okay. Means we can still play the Acid Moss. And this is where you don't want to fetch the Overgrown Tomb because the Acid Moss fetches the Overgrown Tomb. And this is where we're like so far ahead now. They play another Sprawl, okay they don't. But also not only far ahead because they also need a lot of mana fixing. If we can take them off all their mana fixing, then we get in a really good spot. Because now they both need the lands and the mana fixing. And they didn't show a Renin 6. Oh, they have nothing. How many? Oh, I already have 6 lands. Wow. Sorry, I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't laugh at my opponents. I'm gonna make the 4/4 here to pressure them. Gonna play Eternal Witness. And I think I'm gonna get the Visionary. They have protection against Acid Moss for now, and the Stirrings might blank. And this also puts a body into play. Because we want to pressure them while they're off tempo. Yeah, they concede because they didn't find another land. So, Acid Moss is good against them. However, I don't think Trinisphere is. Especially not on the draw. But I don't know what is good against them. I don't know how much counter magic they have, if any, and I don't think, and a lot of the removal is not black based, so I don't think there's a reason to put in Veil. Sphinx is an attacker against the Planeswalkers, and so is Plague Engineer, and I don't know if they have any kind of weird tokens. Scavenging Ooze actually could be good because they're usually relying on Renin 6 to get them, secure them land drops. If we can eat some of their lands, I think it's really good. Shriekmaw cannot kill Niv Mizzet, so that's a problem. But it can kill other things. But what other things do they have other than Niv Mizzet? I am not sure. The Shriekmaw might be bad. We're gonna keep it in for now and see what happens, I think. If we could clutch out this game, it'd be really nice. Send to Acid Moss hand would be amazing. Hand sucks because we don't have one land and we have a bunch of irrelevant cards. Sand is fine. Do I want to keep the Trinisphere? I don't know if I want to do that because I think it's gonna hamper us more. I'd rather have the Stern. In this case, I'd rather have the Stern to find a Khan with. Guess I don't have my Starns anymore. The rest is an interesting thing to put in. I guess they're really afraid of acid moss or land destruction then, if they're putting in the rest. I mean, them not ramping is just really good for us. It's just that just means they won't play anything that fast. However, they could have Renin 6, so that's the problem if they do have that. Let's just hope they don't. They tap land. Okay, now they have the use of Brawl. They just wanted to res me first. Play the Visionary, draw a card. Hopefully we can find some kind of land destruction. Primal Command works fine as well because that actually deletes the Utopia Sprawl, so. Office. Omnath. Omnath with no land drop. I mean, that's good. Omnath is good. Falling Ballista for 2. Falling Barons. Ballista. Gives us some kind of protection against Walgers. So it's not amazing. And they could easily just, fetch land here with Omnath. And we're in a bad spot because they get 4 mana. Against this is a kind of mid-range deck where we can't fight them that well because they can outvalue us. Put Yorion into hand. They're gonna play Yorion. They can. They just, yeah, they can. They just chose not to. What is in their hand? Their hand must be really bad if they're doing that, right? So we just kill. I think we have to kill Omnath here. Oh, I should have attacked first. I'm stupid. Anyway, I should attack first. I don't think it matters this game, but I should have attacked first. Can't play the E-Wood anyway. I should definitely attack for additional 4 damage. I just want to kill it one out while I can. They probably have another one, but I mean, what can you do? They play Yorion. And that's pretty bad as well. don't know. I didn't play Yorion last turn though. I wouldn't put in a lot more pressure. Then they blink the Omnath, draw another card. Yeah, I don't think we can beat this. I mean, I'll try. Have to hit a con off this right now. Here we don't. I'll concede. In this case, on the play, we might want to do a bit more with the Trinspheres. Extreme is better than I initially thought because of the Omnath, which I forgot. I think this Sphinx is bad. Put in Trinisphere. Try this. I wanna get them if I can here. I do want to try to. I think we just need to go main game plan here if we want to beat them. I think this is also fine keep. They can't kill the sprawl. If they have a bit slow start, we might have a chance. If we can get Khan online. Might have to rest again, I guess. They do. I guess this is why the rest is good. Those seem sketchy. But a Renin 6. Renin 6 is a big problem. I think I have to Khan into Pithing Needle because that Renin 6 is just gonna wreck me so hard. And I wanna limit their mana possibilities. And I don't think they have Force Negation. Because if I could play Coding, I'd just do Coding. But since I can't, I wanna do Pithing Needle. Because Renin 6 just way too much value. Okay, that's not the land I got back. Makes sense, they don't want to fetch a forest. Kind of removal spell, yes. That does Rambus though. So definitely playing Khan again though. And now we can Coding them, and that's good. That means we might have a chance in this. Could have probably used Stirrings for land, but I think that's too risky. think I want to take them off Steam then, so they don't have a blue source. They do have the Misty, right? Yeah, but then they can't play Teferi at least. I mean, if they have another trophy, that's that. But we can't play around that. There's sort of things that you just can't play around always. So, I mean, every single thing I've said we couldn't play around, we've been hit by this game. So that's kind of annoying. Come on, another Khan, please. That would be so huge. Nope. I think we play a bird. I think we deploy a Trinisphere. They're gonna counter the Trinisphere? Or they're just fetching? I'm a bit tired right now. After this has been quite a long league. Attack the Renin 6 just in case. They play Omnath, they gain life anyway. We can't play it. Second trophy was kind of annoying. But even if we had activated coding on the Overgrown Tomb, they could have fetched with Misty Reinforced. Like, we couldn't cut them off the mana to do it, like the colors. And if they didn't have it, the trophy, then we would have just won, right? That's the point, right? If they didn't have the trophy, we could have just won. And this is probably an Omnath. No, they can't cast Omnath. They don't have white. Clothis, oh, that's a problem. That's a good draw. Cancel. I think we're just gonna have to start killing lands. Now we kill the Renin 6 just to be sure. Now we have the Khan on board. We might have a chance. Because we could also get Khan for one coil next turn. And that is an actual threat that could do something. That's the reason we have Wormcoil in sideboard. That's to have something that puts pressure, right? Something that puts pressure on the opponent. They're gonna exile Khan here. I couldn't imagine them needing mana. Wait, is this the? I guess they did have white mana. These triomes confuse me sometimes. Sorry if that's you just love free land types and all, you know. Pretty damn good. Nice deck. Oh, thank you. I assume when a person types nice deck, I'm gonna assume they're generators. People sometimes like, you know, nice log or something. It's obviously that they're salty, right? But this is just like seemingly a nice person. I guess that I don't know if that means they're conceding, but I don't think they're dead at all. I think they have a chance. They don't have white, so there's no Omnath at least. Now there's no Omnath, guaranteed. Might have another removal spell for Khan. But again, playing around the third at Trasson's trophies, there's like And Abrupt Decay doesn't work. GG. Okay, cool. So, okay, first of all, we won against Niptolite. I want to say that's a pretty big deal to me. That's like I think that's kind of impressive in general, winning against Niptolite with this deck, because it's really tough because it's such a good mid-range deck, and we're also kind of like in that realm of trying to limit your opponent resources, but when your opponent has like Renin 6 and miss it, it's really hard. Oh, okay, we managed to clutch out. Cool. So we went 2 and 3. I could have went 2 and 3, 3 and 2, sorry, if I've not taken so much time with the Stoneblade game. But I guess that's how it goes. In paper, I would have won that. I think that's like the point here. Like, I mainly play in paper and not as much in Moto with this deck. So, well, yeah, as a stacks player, you need to learn how to play fast and such like that. But in paper, you would have won that game because you didn't need to rush it as much, and you could have deployed your mana denial while putting on pressure and not having to F6 against and waste your turn just to attack, right? So I definitely think I could have won that if I just played a bit faster in the first game. But the first game was so intense and so interesting that I think it was like I didn't imagine that it was I didn't consider how the implications of my decision making that take 2 minutes in like the first 5 minutes to impact how the game would end. But as a general suggestion, yes, remember to play fast because this is gonna be a thing that will impact your games. And of course, in paper, you can also lose to it if you go down in games and then go to time, then you of course lose to it. And yeah, I often find that it's my opponent in paper. I often find it's my opponent who takes the most time. In general, right? The time you take with this deck is when you're like, again, it's when you have an Eternal Witness and you have both a Primal and a Khan and a Bridge in your graveyard, right? It's when you have a Primal command, you need to find out what to tutor with, what modes to use in general. It's when you have a Khan, you need to find out, can I get a liquid metal coating, or do I need to get a bridge, or do I need to tick up, or do I need, like, what kind of situation am I in, and how can I deal with it? Those are the kind of decisions that make you tank with this deck, and it's what makes the deck fun to play. It's because you have these branching decisions that really majorly impact how the game plays out. Yeah. And so that means there's a lot of replayability, of course, and you kind of start to learn what, like, how much pressure can I take before I need to change the way I play with, like, how I change my plays. And that's where knowing your opponent's deck comes into play. It's like, if let's say I get to play a Khan against a Stoneblade deck while still thinking it's control, and I might get a coating, and then it turns out they're much more aggressive than I initially thought. That's a problem. And the same thing against other type of decks, or vice versa, right? So that's why knowing the meta can also be pretty important, because you can sense sideboard more well. And yeah. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. This was a really long one. I know that shit happens when you're playing against, like, what, 3 mid-range decks and a control deck with a control deck. That you just get really long games. But I will leave there in the description. There will be a deck list for this specific list. There will be a link to the MTC Discord. If that doesn't work, please write in the comments. Because it might not, but I think it works. There will be a link to my Twitch channel. I sometimes stream, but though very rarely. So it's just there if you want to follow. Because I might stream this deck in the future on there. And there are other people on the Mono Green Control Discord that are streaming currently and in general starting to make more content. So if you want to learn more about the deck or anything, go on to there. Otherwise, I will see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.